Halloween. Everyone's favorite holiday. At least here in the US. And definitely not my dad's. From the fun and timeless holiday specials, the costumes, scary stories, primal instincts, and more. But why is it everyone's favorite holiday, with the aforementioned group who hate it? Well, I think to answer that, there are some broad bits of background to delve into, mainly that of America's cultural response to certain points. So, without further ado, let's get into this. In order to understand Halloween in the base form as we know it today, we need to go ahead and look back. So as Blue from OSP would once say,
let's do some history.
All Hallows Eve started out as an Irish religious night, mostly imparted by the Christian religion. The following day, November 1st, would be All Saints' Day, a day honoring, well, all the saints of the religion. The term was coined around 1745, meaning that Christianity had already spread across Europe into numerous Western cultures such as Ireland, Germany, Italy, France, and their respective colonies. With how big the religion was from 1745 till the countercultural movements in the 1960s, All Saints' Day continued to be pushed throughout the centuries as an important part of the Christian lifestyle. As such, so was All Hallows Eve. But even then, the holiday didn't gain much influence until the Scottish and Irish immigrants moved over to the mid-19th century, spreading the holiday from just a wee old Maryland to the rest of the North American continent. With how popular the holiday was by religious groups, and how fast this was spread across the country, it's pretty easy to see how the influence really led to the spread of Halloween. But that's just one aspect. Historical context for a holiday so ingrained in American culture is only good for so far. So let's look into another way of how something spreads like wildfire, aside from the actual wildfires. The media is totally obsessed with Halloween, and this can be for a wide variety of reasons. The horror element, creativity, or the unknown. Let's try and break those three aspects down one by one, starting with creativity. Looking around, many YouTubers, companies, creative individuals all around, it's easy to see that people go all out for the month of October. Hell, to the point where people will work on costumes and yard steps months in advance than the actual bloody month of October. So because of this, Halloween opts as a way for creatives to really show their stuff. Before I went off to uni, there was this guy in our neighborhood who used to make animatronics of working voices and smoke for Halloween. The dude was a freaking dentist. There were also a wide variety of Halloween media, timeless classics like Peanuts, Halloween Town, and obviously the length of horror movies. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's move it back to creativity. Obviously we have trick-or-treaters costumes, or adult costumes. Just costumes in general. It's a fun time where people get to show off their creative side and how to design costumes, or just have fun with theming for Halloween of the spookiness. But in addition to that, there are also the psychological aspects of it. It is the same reason why Americans are obsessed with actors and actresses. Their job is to use these masks to be someone they are not truly. We love acting as things we aren't, or as what society says we should not be. I love being a lazy asshole, but society says it is wrong. So, dress up as one, put on the mask, and that's just you being in character. We get to be something we aren't, and as humans add up more and more masks per the situation, it only comes natural to us to put one on for Halloween. Next, let's look into the horror aspect of things. Why do humans like to be scared? Well, first and foremost, let's look into the actual scientific reason why. A huge part of why humans like to be scared with horror movies, scared rides, stuff like that, is because we know we're safe. The body releases a huge amount of dopamine, therefore getting our pleasure senses going, getting that rush to go on ahead and be scared more and more. Because of that, it has led to an increase in the horror movies and other horror theme activities for the past couple decades. However, due to the influx of said movies and the, weakness of their scares, their ability to actually release that dopamine compound has gone down a bit more and more. But moving away from the science, we'll get more into the media later. I want to focus in on the more theoretical ideal we can go ahead and add in here. I think it's a primal urge to be afraid. Going back to what society has deemed as acceptable and unacceptable behavior, it is a primal urge of violence. It is our fight or flight ideal. We can see how people respond to Halloween, exploring the parts of ourselves society wants us to suppress. In most slasher films, we root for the violence because, as Thomas Hobbes once said, humanity is inherently evil and will destroy itself without a higher order. Well, not an exact quote. I don't know. Okay, the Leviathan is long, it's very lengthy, it's very wordy. Get off my back. With how hard society has pushed down humanity's more basic instincts and animalistic influences, getting a day, nay, a season no less, lets us to cut loose and go insane. I like to think of it as a purge. A way for us all to go nuts, spend the rest of our year in relative peace. I said relative! Now then, the unknown. Humans love to look at the unknown and try to make sense of it, whether it is the human mind in thrillers, ghost stories, chilling creatures from beyond our comprehension. They are everywhere. Monsters, aliens, witchcraft, and the spooky. Let's look at our previous points. Different masks mean we can be as scary as we want. And what do we fear more than the unknown? The supernatural is just that. The supernatural. We looked at Bram Stoker for Dracula and the Birth of the Vampire, the most famous of horror movie monsters. A high-class man or woman speaking elegantly in the beauty of youth, all topped up into a mortal being that's actually a psychopath. And what have we specified humans love a lot? Being scared and dealing with those primal urges of the fear and the unknown. A different example could be Frankenstein. In our current age, social intellectuals are populating the market, using brains and good business tactics to flaunt their intelligence. Frankenstein is about a hyper-intelligent doctor playing God and what it means. Fiction for certain, but it's something that most people enjoy nowadays. Being the smartest person in the room really gives us that ego boost. With how widespread the internet has been, those ego boosts only fuel our desire to go ahead and be on top. In other words, on top of the social pyramid, which then will also mean going into the primal urges of things, the top predator. But then the question becomes as well, why are so many religious zealots all over the place in horror and Halloween type movies? Well, look back to the origins of Halloween, a religious holiday meant to honor the saints of the Catholic Church. Of course, those who grew up in these types of homes would write stories that involve the church, highly intelligent humans and warriors as the heroes, while the unknown and monsters are the enemies. So, to recap, Irish and Scottish immigrants popularized the holiday by spreading it outside of Maryland and a handful of Christian counties to most of the United States in the 19th century. 2. Media obsession. Due to the pleasure senses of being afraid, horror movies have continued to release and draw in more and more people. Because of this, profits have skyrocketed and more horror movies continue to be made and released. Therefore, the month of October is now being more associated with that of the dead and supernatural than of All Souls Day. 3. Creativity. By having a societal norms pressure people into different roles based upon age, sex, gender, etc., humans can don masks to go out and be as free as they want from the pressure of society. 4. Horror aspects. By celebrating the dead and the martyr of the Catholic Church, people in the West have often associated the time to the dead and what comes next. An uneasy feeling and one that has been pushed by set style norms as a way to create fear and stay in line with your own moral compass. 5. Supernatural elements. We love the unknown and wish to understand it and explore it, leading many to become obsessed with it and how these supernatural elements could tie into our own society and societal norms. But really wrapping into all things, what makes Halloween so bloody fun? It's a combination of everything. Our base instincts being out, our desire to break out of societal norms, and the desire to be weird. A celebration of the weird. As a collective, we have this idea of normal. But let's be honest here. There is no such thing as normal. My definition of normal is different than my brother's, different than my mother's, different from my friends. But a day where we get to show off our definition of normal, it's liberating. What's more fun than liberation and obtaining societal freedoms when you're so put down and told not to do it? Have a happy Halloween, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. Have a lovely night. Take care.